Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy Bass the Kid. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend, a colleague, an associate, an enemy, anyone in between, family member. It's all good. I appreciate it all. Now, I did actually have another video planned, which will probably end up dropping a little later on today or very, very early tomorrow, maybe even two, because I've got quite a few things I want to talk about. However, this one is discussing none other than the breaking news that the WBC have cleared Conor Benn of any wrongdoing with regards to the failed drugs tests he had via their clean boxing program and the additional VADA testing for the Chris Eubank Jr. fight that never took place back on the 8th of October. Now, it's a bit of a long-winded statement, but ultimately they are saying it is elevated egg consumption as to why this took place and why this occurred, and they've happily taken that explanation. Now, I want to read a part of the results that I've just seen, just so we can kind of get some clarity. Okay, so according to this, it says the WBC found that 1. There was no conclusive evidence that Mr. Benn engaged in intentional or knowing ingestion of clomiphene. 2. There were no failures in the procedures related to sample collection, sample analysis, or violations of Mr. Benn's B sample rights that would justify questioning or invalidating the adverse findings. And 3. Mr. Benn's documented and highly elevated consumption of eggs during the times relevant to the sample collection raised a reasonable explanation for the adverse finding. Right, what do I think of this? Now, I purposefully decided not to really give my particular opinion or whatever until the results came out, because I thought due process is, fair and only right, especially in a country where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But I'm sorry, to me this is bullshit. Yeah, okay, he may have ingested a higher consumption of eggs in that particular time, but what we've not been told is the amount of clomiphene that was in his system from the first test to the second one. Now, what we do know is they did say that there was trace amounts in the second and there was more in the first, so that is consistent with a contamination. But of what level is the contamination, and how do you miraculously now just have a documented additional amount of eggs in your system that you weren't taking before? What was the increased egg consumption for? Because bear in mind, the first test that got leaked to the public, or the first test that was taken that people didn't actually know about, was long before the fight was even signed with Chris Eubank Jr. So it's not like he was eating extra eggs at that point to intentionally bulk up for that fight, because that fight wasn't signed. Yeah, you may have been roughly speaking about it, but you're not going to do all of that before you have the contract or the go ahead, because ultimately you're still a 147 guy having to make 147 weight to fight and compete in eliminators and whatnot. So to then say that, oh well, yeah, I was eating all these extra eggs to bulk up, nah, I'm sorry, I can't buy that one. Like, of all the, and again, I'm a person that gives people the benefit of the doubt all the way, like until otherwise stated. But to me, this particular statement, this particular, comment and explanation for this drug in your system, I can't buy it. Now, I still can't say that you've knowingly cheated. Well, I could, but that would be, defamation of character. I'm not about that. I don't know 100%. What I do know is I don't buy this particular argument on its once, because when we was talking about that before, people was like, oh no, yeah, extra eggs, no, that sounds like some dead answer. We need to know, we need better than that. But yet that's the excuse and the explanation that you've given after people have already told you they don't think that's gonna wash in the public. So look, ultimately he's cleared to fight. He can fight again via WBC. The UCAD stuff is still going on, so we don't know what's going to happen with regards to their investigation as to whether or not they will, allow him to apply for a British Boxing Board of Control license again, or whether the BBBOC will even allow him to fight in this country. But yeah, ultimately he's back in the rankings. He gets to fight again. I don't buy the excuse, for all those who feel like I'm, Matchroom FC, which, to be fair, look, they're the best promotion out there, but I was high on Conor Benn, and I still am, to be fair. I'm just saying that this particular, this explanation, this piece of evidence, I can't watch that one. Now, seeing as we're talking about it, look, there's more here, but ultimately I'm not even going to go for that. I had a prediction the other day. I did tell it to Ring IQ, so he did say he was going to do a video and give the credit to me if it came down to it. But I thought, let me share it for my esteemed viewers. It's, you get it first. You're supposed to get my information and my footage first from me. That's how we do over here. So if we notice, Adrian Broner was supposed to have his fight in February and it got called off. He had 3 different opponents pull out. They've now called off that date with BLK Prime, Black Prime, however people want to state it. Yeah. Now Conor Benn has said quite numerous occasions that he wants to come back to a quote-unquote big fight. So a big fight to them is clearly profile in terms of name more than anything else. Okay. Now, with regards to that, they've talking Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's team said they won't do anything until there's a conclusion. But the Pacquiao fight probably doesn't necessarily fill people with confidence because he's been out of the ring for 2 years, 42 years old, 43 years old. Like, yeah, they're not really gonna take to that. But you say, well, it's his first fight back, even though he's only been out of the ring, 10 months at this point, 9 to 10 months. Here's what my scenario was. Seeing as Adrian Broner now doesn't have an opponent, Eddie Hearn probably pays a lot of money to Adrian Broner to get him in the ring against Conor Benn in Conor Benn's comeback fight, Adrian's comeback fight, Conor's comeback fight, either as the co-main, probably it will be the co-main event, to an Edgar Berlanga fight in June in New York in like the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden, because they say that Edgar Berlanga sells well in the tri-state area, sells well in New York. Conor Benn's probably not going to box his next fight over here, especially if he doesn't want to hear quote-unquote backlash. He's not going to box in Australia just because even though they've got the infrastructure out there with Matchroom, they haven't got the biggest of networks yet, but they've got a big enough pool in America. You put Edgar Berlanga on the card, you got Adrian Broner on the card, you introduce Conor Benn to that US market, and then that way he's got an additional option outside of the UK and maybe the Spain card, since obviously he speaks Spanish as well, or maybe taking him to Mexico. That's what my prediction is. It could be well off, but ultimately to me it makes the most sense. It's a quote-unquote high-profile comeback fight, probably not as risky as you would think because Adrian doesn't really throw hands too tough, but he knows how to defend himself and go rounds. And again, you get the Edgar Berlanga traffic on top of that. You get the Puerto Rican brigade all now knowing about Conor Benn. You can communicate with people. Again, in Spanish, you got the mixed race guy that can speak English and Spanish. You got the black guy who's just gonna be bombastic, outrageous, and say some weird shit, but is ultimately gonna say some stuff that'll grab some headlines. Then you got obviously Edgar Berlanga there, and whoever else he fights, I'm sure they would put a decent amount of people in the seats. What they do, about 6,000 in the Hulu Theater, so I'm sure they could sell at least 4,500 tickets. It'd be a good atmosphere, and again, like I said, it's a good platform to just go out to the US and get a bit more of an exposure, same as what they was trying to do with Anthony Joshua back in the day. That's what I think will likely happen, something of that ilk. I definitely do see him being on that undercard, even if it's not against Adrian Broner, but that's my prediction. We'll see if it happens. If it doesn't, cool. I mean, I've been wrong before, but I've had some pretty good insights thus far, this year, especially towards the back end of last year. So we'll see where we go. Anyway, I'm going to get to work on some of the other videos which need editing or even need some extra bits just filled in, but they will be dropping, like I said, probably 1 or 2 more videos, maybe an extra one today and definitely one tomorrow. Maybe both of them drop tomorrow, but we'll see where we go. We've also got basis picks dropping on Friday. Yeah, I'll do it on Friday, even though there's some Saturday work. I think I've got everything in line for Friday. Saturday we'll do another episode and we'll take it from there. Weekend wrap Sunday. Oh, actually no, it might have to be Monday now. Yeah, weekend wrap's probably gonna have to be Monday. We'll make it work. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and as always, Hardcore Casual out.